This isn't the first time that I've talked about Dragon Ball on my channel, but it will be the first time that I've talked about it in any kind of depth. It's weird thinking that I might have to explain Dragon Ball to anyone. It's such a mainstay of culture, not just American culture or Japanese culture, but world culture. It's been around for so long that even people who've never watched the show can still recognize some of the prominent characters by name. It's ridiculous to think that after so long, an episode of Dragon Ball could still come along that shakes up the narrative of the series and the community of fans completely. And yet that's exactly what happened this past weekend, when a major turning point was reached in the current arc, the Tournament of Power, a massive martial arts free-for-all that pits the fighters from multiple universes against each other, 10 fighters from each universe. Of course, the trump card from the heroes' home universe is Goku, quite possibly the greatest fictional martial artist of all time. Goku has been the trump card for the heroes for a very long time, even long past when it seems that he was supposed to be. Initially, it seemed as if the series was going to end after the fight with the monster Cell, at which point Goku's son, Gohan, had taken over as the trump card for the heroes, the hero of the show overall. In the next season, though, Goku became the group's trump card again, though even at that point he made it clear that he couldn't be the savior of their group forever, that someone else would have to take over for him eventually. And yet, that still has yet to happen. One of the biggest problems with Dragon Ball as a series is the issue that characters like Goku and Vegeta, his rival, continue to get stronger when characters who were once rivals to them in skill and power have been left in the dust. The issue of power scaling in this series is insane. Now, in a martial arts anime, there's no problem with your hero being a bit stronger than everybody else so that he can come in and save the day at the end. But Goku at this point, if you go by the best estimates of fans, could be as many as a few trillion times stronger than some of the weaker characters, and that's just ridiculous. Goku continues to increase his power through the biological transformations of his species, the Saiyans. Saiyans have the ability to take on altered physiological states, referred to as levels of Super Saiyan, which literally multiply their base strengths hundreds of times over. And Goku seems to reach each of these states first, at least in most instances. He achieved the original Super Saiyan state in order to defeat the Tyrant Frieza. He mastered that original Super Saiyan form in order to stand up to the androids and Cell. Super Saiyan level 2, though not achieved by Goku originally, was used to defeat Cell, and Goku did achieve it soon after. Super Saiyan level 3 was used to stand up to Buu, whose pool of energy was said to be literally infinite. The Super Saiyan God form was used to stand up to the literal god of destruction, Beerus. And the Super Saiyan Blue form is the original Super Saiyan form all over again, filtered through the God level key that Super Saiyan God allows Goku to harness and use. Goku, before he even achieved one of these forms, could already blast the Earth in half. And now his power has been multiplied so many times that it's not even possible to accurately count it anymore. And yet the series makes it clear that that's still not enough, that there are still people stronger than this character. Unfortunately for our heroes, though, none of them are his fellow heroes. The closest to him in power is his rival Vegeta, who also has the Super Saiyan Blue form, but Goku has the ability to multiply the power level of that form by another 20. It's absolutely ludicrous. The power levels of these characters go so far beyond any other character in the entire canon of martial arts anime that it's ridiculous. It leaves me speechless when I try to talk about it. And yet, throughout this entire ongoing tournament, there has been a character who has been implied to be even stronger than Goku is now. His name is Jiren the Grey. He looks like a very buff version of a gray alien. And when Goku finally does try to fight him, he runs through all of his Super Saiyan forms, except for Super Saiyan 3, because the guy who created Dragon Ball hates it. And yet, none of them were able to so much as make this guy try. I repeat, Goku is so powerful that he could destroy something like 1 trillion planets at once, and yet his opponent didn't even have to try to defeat him. Goku even goes so far as to use his trump card against this opponent, the Genki Dama, or Spirit Bomb, in which he borrows energy from everyone and everything around him, turns it into a giant ball, and then throws it at the other guy. Considering that he's standing in an arena full of some of the most powerful beings in multiple universes, several of whom were his friends, who gave him as much of their energy as they could stand to lose, you can rest assured that this was a powerful attack. And yet this Jiren the Grey turned it right back on Goku after only a mild struggle. This, though, is when something miraculous happened. As he was engulfed by his own Spirit Bomb, in order to survive it, Goku had to surpass his old limits. He achieved a state that he's been training to achieve for a long time under his current master, Whis, a state called Ultra Instinct, based on the real-life mental state known as Mushin, I believe is how it's pronounced, which translates to no mind. It's a state that skilled martial artists are said to enter during combat. A Zen state, where the mind is not fixed or occupied on or upon thought or emotion, and thus is open to anything and everything. Essentially, it's a state of mind where a person doesn't have to rely on what they think should be their next move in combat, but where their reactions are what they feel intuitively, what their body does almost on its own. This is an ability that Whis has been shown to use against Goku and Vegeta at the same time to defeat them effortlessly. And it certainly seems to line up with the visuals for when Goku first achieved this ability. He suddenly moved completely unlike his past self. It was clear from the way he was animated that he wasn't actually thinking about the fight, that his body was moving on its own. It's almost as if Goku himself was in a trance. He even continued to grow stronger as he continued to fight Jiren. And even though this new state slipped away before he could defeat Jiren, it's clear at this point that he has the strength to stand up to him if he can just learn how to use it. And yet, for the first time, Goku has achieved a new level of power through something other than his Saiyan biology. Now, yes, it is possible that because he's a Saiyan, he was able to achieve this state more easily than another mortal could, as it is said by the gods during this process that Ultra Instinct is incredibly difficult even for them. But this is not a Super Saiyan transformation. This is a state that theoretically anyone of any species can achieve. And we know from watching Whis fight this way that this trance-like state that Goku entered is not normal for the Ultra Instinct state of mind. That someone who has mastered how to use it can apply their own skills and techniques on top of it. It's clear that Ultra Instinct is going to play a major part in the rest of the tournament, with Goku getting a handle on how it's used. But what I want to talk about today is how Ultra Instinct could be used to fix the power scaling problem in Dragon Ball. If this is a state that any being can achieve, then it stands to reason that with enough work, Goku's friends could achieve it as well. While it is said to be insanely difficult to achieve, Goku, after his initial training, only had to break through a mental barrier in order to activate this ability. As talented a martial artist as Goku is, several of his friends are nearly as much so, if not more. And as far as we know, there is no stipulation that says that just because two people have different levels of power without Ultra Instinct, that one of them would still be stronger with it. Ultra Instinct is being portrayed as the ultimate state of mind, the most powerful that a being in this universe can be. After all, Jiren is said to be stronger than the gods of destruction, some of the most powerful beings in these collective universes who can actually be killed. And yet Ultra Instinct seems to be able to trump his power. The only beings that we know of other than Jiren who are stronger than the gods of destruction are their angels, such as Whis. Doesn't it stand to reason then that the angels are only stronger than the gods of destruction because they have the Ultra Instinct state at their disposal? And doesn't it also stand to reason that if Ultra Instinct makes Goku as strong as them, at least in theory, that it should do the same for anyone? To get right down to it, what I am asserting with this video is that Ultra Instinct is not a multiplier like past transformations in Dragon Ball. That it is in fact a modifier which elevates a person to a peak base power level. It would be the same for anyone. That if, in theory, the other main characters in the series learned to achieve Ultra Instinct, that they would suddenly be on Goku's level again, and that any future conflicts between them would be settled by who had the better technique. Just like it was back in the good old days of the original Dragon Ball, when things were a little more grounded. Several of the formerly irrelevant characters have already seen huge power boosts lately, because they have, much like Goku in this situation, made the push to overcome the limits that were holding them back. It stands to reason that they could do that again with this Ultra Instinct state, that it would just take time and practice. And perhaps even a triggering event like the Spirit Bomb collision that Goku suffered. If characters like Krillin, for example, are able to achieve Ultra Instinct and reach this new base level, suddenly they would be relevant again, not just in this tournament arc, but in the series overall. And that's something that I and a lot of fans are really desperate to see happen. I mentioned Goku's son before, Gohan. He even recently committed to finding a new way to make himself stronger that doesn't involve relying on his Saiyan heritage. Ultra Instinct could be that way. This is a huge long shot. Dragon Ball likes its multipliers and its Super Saiyan forms, so chances are my interpretation of this Ultra Instinct state isn't what's going to end up being true in the series. But if I turn out to be right, this has the potential to fix my biggest problem with the show, and that really excites me. But as per usual, guys, I'd like to know what you think. What do you think of this theory, of this scenario? What do you think of Ultra Instinct itself? How many of you are super annoyed that I did a Dragon Ball theory? How many of you absolutely loved it? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.